I think I see a lot of lawbreakers up in this house.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Sodcasty For Me, the podcast about film, culture, politics, and Steven Soderbergh, where we watch every film directed by American filmmaker Steven Soderbergh and explore how they speak to their moment. And this one, show is hosted by two guys. I'm one of the guys. My name is Jake Serwin.
I'm one of the guys. My name is Ian Ryan. Jake, what's going on?
Have you seen my water cup, Ian? I
live in a whole different country.
Yeah. Well, it's orange if you see it. Okay. It was from a...
All right, great.
It's from a fan boat tour that I took.
Wow. You
like
cannot lose that.
Yeah, the straw is trapped in it, so I thought it'd be good for... whatever, I'll find it later. Other than that, I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. I am a big fan of our guest today, so I decided today I'm going to be funny for the first time on the show.
Good luck. It's a nice contrast because I'm not crazy about her, to be honest.
Sure. Yeah. Well, that's kind of like the film, a balanced perspective. That's beautiful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I find that the film has one of those. Real quick, if you'd like to support the show, you can subscribe to our Patreon, $5 a month. You get a bonus episode every other week. We do Clint Eastwood ephemera, Steven Soderbergh ephemera. Just this I think when this comes out, we will have just covered the absolutely insane 2023 Tamil film Jigarthanda Double X, which features a CGI Clint Eastwood, the likes of which you've never seen.
Yep.
You got to go to patreon.com/podcasty for me to hear us describe that, I guess. Honestly, not a great sales pitch. Anyway, bring our guest in. Very excited to have her join us today. She's a writer and I think a Las Vegas enthusiast. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, totally. In certain ways.
Yeah, well, welcome to the show, Eva Anderson. Eva, thanks so much for joining us.
What's going on?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me. I'm very happy to be discussing this movie with you.
Let's check in at the end to see if you still agree with that.
Reflect back.
Also joining us today for this whole series is our friend, the virtual assistant from the 2022 Steven Soderbergh film, Kimmy. It's Kimmy.
Hey, Kimmy.
Hello, Ian, Jake, and esteemed guest Eva. It's me, Kimmy.
She hasn't really figured out how to say guest and then pause.
I don't know.
Yeah. What's going on, Kimmy? How you doing today?
He's next to the candelabra. He's not behind it.
Yeah.
Wow. You're kind of a stickler, Kimmy. Is that your thing? You're like a cinema sins?
Well, she's precise. She's she deals in binaries.
Yeah.
Sometimes the orchestra is behind the candelabra. Or like the set or whatever.
Yeah, no. I mean, I thought about this too.
The big car? Where's the car?
I think the car is usually the car moves though.
Okay.
And it's not like the candelabra is obscuring the car. I am with Kimmy on this, I think.
Okay.
Liberace is next to it, not behind.
Right. No, I get what Eva, do you have any insight into that? You've had more direct contact
Fucking
with...
pissed me off.
Okay. All right.
She's really mad.
Take it easy, Kimmy.
Yeah, I mean, Eva, where do you land on this in terms of the prepositional space?
I don't think I think if it's on the piano and he's playing the piano, he's facing the candelabra.
Right.
He's
that could be nice too, facing
it.
the candelabra.
Facing the candelabra, yeah, because there's sort of a confrontation here.
Yeah.
I'm also, I guess I'm realizing that I kind of had joined candelabra and chandelier in my head. A candelabra, this is a stalactite stalagmite situation, right?
Ooh,
candelabra is what the thing is in Beauty and the Beast. Who sings "Be Our Guest"?
Right, that Jerry Orbach. Yeah.
Yes.
Inexplicably Jerry Orbach doing a French accent.
Yes, that with his arms. That's the candelabra.
Yeah, what is his name? Lumiere.
Lumiere is candelabra.
Sort of a classic film reference.
Yes.
I believe also in theaters around this time was the 3D re-release of Beauty and the Beast. So you could have seen one form of candelabra at the theater, at least, not this movie.
I'm also, you've really struck me with this image of like the natural formation of candelabra, like in a little cave, like a French cave. This is beautiful to imagine. Right. Yeah.
I was watching some videos of Liberace showing off some of his houses, and he has like this, one of his prized possessions was a pair of, I think, lamps from some like Austrian prince's castle that were made out of a certain kind of glass that I was like certain was radioactive. It was like a blue glass.
Cobalt.
Yeah,
Cobalt
I mean,
blue.
basically, yeah, he got them from those. They melted down those Burger King Shrek cups that gave all the kids cancer. Remember?
Yeah.
Anyway, so that might be what's behind what's going on here. Hey, behind.
Hey,
think about that. Let's jump into our signature segment, the two questions. Kimmy, are you feeling well enough to introduce this for us?
It's time for the 2 questions, our signature segment where we ask each other 2 questions.
Thank you so much. Eva, do you have a question for us today?
Yes, related to the film.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
What is the California diet?
Okay. I sort of half looked this up while I was watching it, but I was trying not to stop paying attention. I believe it was some kind of like half. It's like the Mediterranean diet, but with like some kind of a spiritual element or like power foods.
I think that's modern, though. I think that's like if you call it California diet now. This is in the 70s. What if you're eating in the 70s or early 80s? What do you think they're eating? What do you think that is?
I mean, there's got to be sun-dried tomatoes, right? That's like the first thing I think of.
They didn't even have pesto yet. Pesto was yet to be imported.
It definitely wasn't popular, yeah.
I was assuming, and this is not based on any research, this is based on my having seen Columbo a lot of times. There's a wonderful episode of Columbo where there's like a freaky health guy who's maybe killed somebody. It seems like
that. Like a Source Family kind of deal?
Yeah. And it seems like a lot of it is... do you recall, Jake, we talked a long time ago about muscular Christianity on the show?
Yes, I do remember that.
It seems like it's a sort of... half of it is attitude, and the other half is like, just like eating beans 3 times a day or something. And then maybe using amphetamines is also the implication here, like Don Draper style.
Right. The vitamins. California diet is some of its pills.
Right.
I mean, there's... Look, people are talking about it. You've heard about it. We're, I think, leaving the age of protein and entering the age of fiber. Hearing a lot of influencers talk about this.
This is news to me. Is this something you know about?
Same.
You guys are blessedly free of this.
Okay.
You know how you can get like protein popcorn or whatever?
Yeah.
I'm still. I had protein pancakes for breakfast.
Wow,
are they any good? Is it the
no?
The Kodiak?
Is this the Kodiak?
These are ones that are like refrigerated and you have to microwave them.
Wow, that's like for punishing yourself.
Cheese and egg whites. They're disgusting.
I think that is the spirit of the California diet, though, Eva. That is the kind of like self-flagellation elements. That's
May I say you're looking swole from the protein pancakes?
Thank you.
Really
that was the point.
Yoked. Hey, that's they don't have yolks in there. If you think about it, that's very interesting. I think though after the fiber, are we going to start seeing? And this is maybe more of a Soderbergh side effects question, but are we going to start seeing SSRI infused foods? Are you going to be able to get the chips made out of cricket meal that also have a little bit of Prozac in them or something?
I mean, Ian knows all about eating crickets.
I do. Yeah, and Prozac.
I feel like
so this is a lot of my diet, actually.
Everywhere I went in Oaxaca City, ladies were just handing me free handfuls of crickets to eat.
And did you eat any of them?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear this, because sometimes you get a skeptic, and I'm all in on this, guys. Bugs are the future. I think this is true.
Yeah.
When I went to Oaxaca to visit Ian, the first place he took us, he was like, one of the things that we got was a little something with beans and crickets on it. And I was like, do I have to like do anything? And he's like, just be cool. Just don't even stop it. Just don't worry about it. It's just food. And he's right. It was good. So we're all delicious. We're all progressive here. We're all very cool. Thank you for the question, Eva. I have a question for the two of you.
Please.
Do you recall the first or an early time when you were informed that a famous person was gay? I can go first while you percolate. I remember I have a weirdly distinct sense memory. We're in my mother's Volvo V70 station wagon, white with the black leather, and we're getting on an on-ramp onto the 2 freeway. I don't know which one, but this is in the La Cañada area of Southern California. Okay. Getting on the freeway. It's me and my sister and this kid from down the street named Jay.
There's always a kid named Jay who's going to be trying to tell you about.
And the rumor, at least, was that Jay's twin sisters were the little girls on the swing set in Terminator 2 who get immolated.
Awesome.
That was a real rumor at your school? Okay.
I think it might just be true. I mean, But my mom told us, the Village people are gay. And my sister and I were like, I was probably 7, she was 9, we're fine with this. Jay, if he had not been in a car, would have fallen to his knees. He was, no, but wait, no.
One of them's a construction worker.
One of them was really strong, yeah. And he
That's so funny.
couldn't stand that. And it's not like, I mean, there's maybe 2 songs. There's YMCA and then In the Navy if you're like really starving for more village people, but somehow he needed this.
Macho Man.
Macho Man. There you go.
Having just read this book, The Secret Public, there's like a chapter on Macho Man, basically. Yes, thank you, Eva.
I want to be him. I remember this now. So that's me. Either of you have any recollections of...
Who really sticks out to me is Pee Wee Herman.
Oh, yeah.
But not with the scandal, like way before that, because my parents were like adjacent to those guys in LA because they knew a lot of the groundlings that were like in the class with Pee Wee and Phil Herman. And they were specifically friends with Lynn Stewart, who played Miss Yvonne, who passed away last year. But it was a really cool lady. But I just was at one point when it was like peak Pee Wee, like on TV and like the movie and everything. And I was a huge fan. He like drove by in a convertible and like waved to my parents at like a stoplight. Wow. And they're like, oh, that's Pee Wee. And he looked so cool. He was wearing like a baseball cap and like a leather jacket or something. Oh my God. And around the same time, they were like, my parents were like, oh yeah, he's gay. Or they just kind of were casually talking about like, him. And I was like, there's so much information. Yeah. How do I put all this information in my head at once?
I feel like more traumatic to me was realizing that it was Pee Wee in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie and seeing him like not Pee-weed up. Like I really didn't like that. Well, that
sounds like part of the leather jacket realization is knowing that he can change clothes, first of all.
I could handle him in Mystery Men because he's like doing mostly Pee-wee shtick.
Yeah.
But what about when he was Penguin's dad?
Oh, wow. That's a great point.
The beginning of Batman.
Yeah.
That is...
tragic Pee-wee. Yeah.
I didn't see Batman Returns until I was an adult, and I could handle it. They protected me from that.
That's really good. That's important.
I used to work at this video store where Diane Salinger would come in sometimes, who plays Pee-wee's mom, or plays the Penguin's mom. She's the woman that Pee-wee has the like moment in the Cabazon dinosaur with.
Oh, that tall lady, Simone.
Yeah, Simone, exactly. Wow. She's a cool lady. Always wore head to toe red clothing.
I was like one time, like years ago, walking down the street, and there were two people on a date walking behind me, and the woman was saying to her date, and I couldn't see them. She was like, "I did some movies in the past. I was in Pee-wee's Big Adventure, actually." And the guy goes, "Who were you in it?" And I just turned on. I was like, "She's Simone. How do you not know that?" Like because of her voice, I immediately knew. I was getting more and more excited. She's rad.
Yeah, she's one of the few people that I've met who is still doing the like grande dame, like woman of the theater
Sunset
kind of
Boulevard style.
Yeah, she's like in a way that's fun.
Cool,
like you want,
enjoying herself
cool.
with that is
swanning
very cool.
around and the elocution in her personal life. It's fun. Ian, did you find out
all about the question? Well, first I just want to say huge alley-oop on your part, Eva, because I think that's one of the most humiliating things that can happen to an actor is having to explain the films that they were in to somebody else, right? But it's a whole different game if a stranger on the street is your hype man and showing up and saying, like, this is one of the biggest stars in the world, you fool.
You idiot.
Date over.
Yeah. I'm on the
She's
date now. Get out of here.
Yeah.
I think I'm also going to, probably not the first, but shout out my mom who tried to do it in a cool way. But I have 5 brothers and we were all big nerds when I was a child and continue to be. And she explained to us that none other than Gandalf the Grey was...
Gandalf the Gay.
That's how she put it. She didn't say that.
That's cool.
Yeah. I think she was trying to say like, this guy that you guys love, he's gay. So, maybe you should all chill out a little bit.
It's two of the most powerful beings you've ever heard of.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're both gay.
Is it because you were midway through watching Gods and Monsters and you're just like, and you're like, she's like, James Whale, also gay. And you're like, this is too much information.
I can't believe this. Yeah. Everybody in the whole industry.
8-year-old's face falling when he learns James Whale was gay. So wait, the Bride of Frankenstein might be Dr. Sartorius instead, or Dr. Pretorius? What's his name? Anyway, cool movie. There's I don't know if people have rewatched Bride of Frankenstein recently. There's a moment where Dr. Frankenstein and I think his name is Pretorius, are sitting, they're talking to each other, and between them is some kind of a blown glass laboratory thing that is the most phallic piece of glass I've ever seen in my life, just sitting right between the two of them. It's wonderful.
he's making this little people, this little.
Oh yeah, the little
That's
like,
what Pretorius is. He's like, you've been making Frankenstein. I've been making little guys.
I have like a little king trapped in this jar. Yeah.
Don't ask any questions about it. It's fine.
Kind of a proto Liberace figure in some ways.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Although Liberace born in 1919, so I don't know. I mean, this is neck and neck on who's the first Liberace.
Yeah. But also, I mean, Eva, on this show, we started out talking about Clint Eastwood, and it's always shocking to find out who was basically a contemporary. And so, like, Liberace's 11 years older than Clint.
Yeah.
Like, that's not crazy. Liberace could be, 107? There are 107-year-olds.
Well, what's
right?
weird, I would say Liberace comes across as somehow younger to me than Clint Eastwood.
Well, it's some of the absolutely invisible surgery that he
But
had.
also,
yeah.
is he only? So he's only in his 50s in the beginning of this movie.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Is it 77?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just like realizing now that in this movie, when it starts, Liberace's younger than my husband.
Oh wow. Interesting point.
And they play him like such a grotesque
right.
old man.
They really. Well, I also think it's to be able to play up the surgery later. But boy, did they like put the like charcoal in his wrinkles or something.
Yeah. Well, and also people age differently. People now 50-something.
The man
now
was in the sun, like the capital S
exactly.
sun.
Yeah, no sunscreen.
Exactly. He was in those
doing
saloons.
the California diet all the time.
Right. Yeah.
He was sun drying
no
like a tomato.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the movie. We're talking today about Behind the Candelabra. This is a film by Steven Soderbergh. The sort of at one point believed to be the final film by Steven Soderbergh.
Yes.
Before his hiatus,
or
where
the
he
final
got even busier.
not film, depending on how you define this.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
This was an HBO film. Came out on HBO May 26th, 2013. Back-to-back airings. If you missed it the first time, they would start it again. Like an old movie palace.
It was like an event. Do you remember this at all? I remember, maybe it's because I was a dork on AV Club at the time, but people were like you cannot miss this thing that's happening.
Yeah. Well, my parents and all their friends were obsessed with it. No, for real. Like my dad talked about it constantly, and I think we as soon as we could buy it, we owned it.
Whoa.
Well, your dad was in showbiz. He was a stage act of the same kind.
Yeah,
or
my parents.
Same, general.
He was
crew,
your dad
right?
was normal. He wasn't the same kind in that sense.
No,
he wasn't like a Baroque weirdo.
He was a showman. All I'm saying.
Right.
But my parents opened for Debbie Allen at the Riviera Casino in Vegas for years. Like, there's pictures of me as a baby being held by like a bunch of like Vegas people.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. Incredible and sort of terrifying, I would imagine. To think about this. Did your folks know Liberace at all? Did they ever meet him?
No, I don't think so. And I mean, like that. They probably would have been around the same time, but he was such a towering figure, and they were they were an opening act at like one of the weirder casinos.
Right.
That's now completely demolished and gone.
I learned in research for this episode that there was briefly a Debbie Reynolds casino. She had her own casino that was very quickly
Incredible.
She somehow managed to go bankrupt. She and Trump are the two people who managed to lose money on a casino. And
That's
then
insane.
She sold it, and it became something else that I'd never heard of and got torn down. But at one point, she had her own casino, which is nuts. I'm surprised there wasn't a Liberace casino. Frankly, I feel like that would have made bank. But this is the Liberace movie. This is the movie based on the book by Scott Thorson, along with who's the guy who wrote the somebody something. Anyways, a book written by sort of a tell-all by Scott Thorson, who was Liberace's much younger lover and chauffeur on stage. They had a big blow-up. He got the rags to riches story, the drugs, the glitz, the glamour, the palimony suit, all of this. Matt Damon, Michael Douglas, you know about this movie. First of all, Eva, what is your relationship to this film and to Steven Soderbergh more broadly?
Oh, I mean, I think I watched this for the first time a few years ago, and loved it. And I love Soderbergh. I mean, I was a big like my friends and I got like really into Schizopolis in college. We just thought it was so funny. So
that's like the time to do it.
Yeah. I definitely lean to I like weirder Soderbergh. And I love Sex, Lies, and Videotape. There's a lot of his modern stuff I've just totally missed. But I think this is one of his I think one of my favorite films of his, and this and The Knick, season 1 of The Knick, I think are the things I like rewatch the most.
So this is like the same 3-year period or whatever. You're bought
so
in
cool.
on. Yeah.
2013, 2014.
Mike too. I think
Really I mean,
lovely.
same stretch. All right. This is mid-period Soderbergh.
I mean, we're gonna talk about it, but you're something of a Liberace.
Yeah, I don't want to pimp you out, Eva, but I will say that I got this the idea for this guest spot because I did hear John Daly on a different podcast, or our friend Nick Weiger. He mentioned that there might be a Liberace connection with you, but you only have to tell as much as you want to tell. Oh,
I'll get into it. Okay. This is like a subject that I'm like talking about it. I'm crazed about
How would you characterize your craze? What's the approach here?
Okay, well, generally, I have this obsession with this that really became like a thing during COVID of buying things from celebrity auctions.
Oh, okay.
Because during COVID, that was the only museum that was open in LA was Julian's auction house whenever they would have an auction.
Wow.
So I have some of my stuff here.
All right.
Okay.
This.
She got piles.
Our guest is grabbing piles of items.
This is like maybe the most cursed things I own, which is from the Robert Evans auction. This is a photo of Robert Evans with Francis Ford Coppola and P. Diddy. And when I bought this, it wasn't as cursed, but in a frame that like he owns.
It's in like a grandma frame also. That's very strange.
This is Elizabeth Taylor's dog, Sugar.
Whoa.
Okay, that's
now
great.
Whose frame is that?
Elizabeth Taylor. This is also Elizabeth Taylor's dog, Sugar.
Wow, this is like one of the most like pitiful, useless dogs.
This is also Elizabeth Taylor's dog, Sugar. And this is also Elizabeth Taylor's dog, Sugar.
Oh, that's a Christmas picture. That's nice.
The first 3 were in like Victorian. They look like they're made of like icing and probably like lead. Yeah, exactly.
In its body in its life.
That's like a Dorian Gray kind of like. I feel like the dog's soul is in there.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. So there's side note. The other cursed item I own is from the only auction I ever went to. This was before COVID. So 2018, where the auction was like, if you registered for the auction, you got to go to the secret location where it wasn't like at the auction house. It was the Zsa Zsa Gabor auction. And when you registered for free, they sent you to the location, which was Zsa Zsa Gabor's fucking house.
Whoa.
Which is half of the locations
in
Behind the Candelabra.
Very heavily in this film.
Holy shit.
You're basically in the movie.
This is her father's cigarette case that he carried in the war with the 3 sisters on it.
Oh my God. And those are like some of the first photographs ever taken. Yeah.
So that took me to going to Zsa Zsa's house. And these aren't people like I think about a lot beyond them just their weird possessions and obsessions and my obsessions. Like I went to the Liberace Museum, I think with my parents because of Behind the Candelabra. I think I would argue all modern fandom of Liberace is actually based on this movie and not him as a person. People like him because of Michael Douglas's
so many of the articles online that are about like on all of the sort of contemporary like film blogs and entertainment blogs and stuff are from 2013, even if they don't mention the movie at all. Like it was just sort of a reignition of interest. Yeah.
It just, and then, so I went to the museum before it closed. The museum was really fascinating. It had like quotes from him all over the walls. It had all of his cars. The museum closes, but then like years later, I'm in Vegas for a bachelorette party, and I just in like the magazine in my room, the Vegas magazine, which I'm just flipping through. There's an ad for a tour of Liberace's collection that's private that you have to call a number to book. So I call, and the guy's like, "I'm too busy. I can't do this today. Call me another time."
What a good service. Great. That's cool.
Yeah. But then like a year later, I'm going back to Vegas with a group of comedy people. It's like me, John Daly, Jason Woliner, and Tom Sharpling. And we were all going to see a Chris Angel auction and fundraiser for his fake charity. That's a whole other thing.
Mind freak. Yeah. He's got a cancer kid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The kid's doing fine.
Right. My sister was a cancer kid. I'm allowed to say it. Everyone back off.
Johnny Christopher's in remission.
Yeah.
But I'm like, should I call this guy again? And they're like, yes. So we call. So the van shows up at the
He's
Airbnb.
like, I've been waiting for your call, Eva.
Yes. He picks us up and he takes us to see the Liberace collection inside the tunnels under Michael Jackson's house, which is called the Thriller Villa.
This is what I was waiting for.
I forgot. I knew some of this story. I forgot about this.
He bought this house because of the tunnels. It was when he'd fled Neverland.
Oh my God.
Okay, also, sorry, I also have the auction catalog from the Michael Jackson auction, which
I
went to.
He's in that's a picture of Michael Jackson in some kind of
Thomas Gainsborough painted this. Yeah.
The secrets that are in this auction catalog, just in images of things that were in his house, you'll never see.
Good God.
So anyway, it was very interesting that the guy who showed us around is the head of the Liberace Foundation to this day. His name's Jonathan Warren, and he's the president of Liberace Foundation. He gives us a tour of the tunnels. It includes lots of really crazy, like you go through a room and he'd be like, this is the tour of the upstairs house. He's like, all the art in this was borrowed from like the Belgian embassy and it's been painted with his beautiful ceiling. That's supposed to be the Sistine Chapel. All we know is that when Michael Jackson lived here, the walls were black. The walls were painted black, and there were no windows, and there was a single chair in the middle of the room.
Oh, good God!
So anyway, at the end of this tour, he walks us up into this final room that has like a lot of Liberace sheet music, and he just this guy just closes the door, and we're in the tunnels, and he just pulls out like a bunch of like sushi from Ralph's. And starts pouring mimosas, and he goes like, "So guys, what are we doing? What's going on?"
Oh, he's just in the group now. That's cool.
He's just like, we realized like this tour ends when he says it ends. Like
wow.
Yeah. And then he tells us kind of casually, like, I'm also the consul to Monaco.
Yes, this was the other detail.
So if you guys ever want to go to Monaco, he's basically trying to figure out if we have like money, and that's why we're doing this tour.
Right.
Sure.
So that happens, and then I'm back in Vegas like 2 years ago, and I'm looking up what's going on, and that tour is not now. You can still do that tour, but you have to contact him directly.
Mm-hmm.
The way you can contact him is you go to the Liberace garage where he's there every day.
Okay.
You can see some of Liberace's cars, and if you see the guy, a bald guy, that's Jonathan Warren, and you have to ask him, and I think you have to Venmo him to take you to Liberace's house.
Does he have a QR code, or you have to look him up?
I don't know. Doug Jones, who's on Podcast Right sometimes, did it like last year. He went.
So he's still doing it.
He's still doing it, but it's increasingly odd how you get in. But then I found out that Liberace's mansion that's depicted in Behind the Candelabra, but has been restored, and you can tour that place.
Okay.
But you have to pay the guy who restored it. His name is Martin Ravenhill, and he is a British man who...
Yeah, all these... Just walked out of like Barry Lyndon or something. Yeah.
When they made Behind the Candelabra, Liberace's house mansion in Vegas was owned by the bank. It had been foreclosed upon. It was locked up. They got the bank to open it so they could go in and take pictures, and then they recreated as much as they could, probably on a set or with Jaja's house, and they also used Siegfried and Roy's house.
Yep.
But certain things like the bathroom are definitely a set because it's so precisely the bathroom in Liberace's house. And I sent you guys some photos of the ceiling. Yes. There's a ceiling that's the actual ceiling in the Liberace bathroom, and then there's the one with Michael Douglas painted on it.
You sent this to us so kindly, so above and beyond, and I'm like, wait a second, that's not Liberace. That's
exactly. But it is exactly that. There's this marble bath. There's a fountain and there's a marble bathtub, and I was like, there's no way that they put this in someone's house. This is like they must have had to build this on a stage.
Yeah.
He also has the Sistine Chapel painted on the ceiling of his bedroom that he got Michelangelo's, a relative of Michelangelo's, to paint.
But anyway, that's like when all the people who are related to George Washington meet in like a Marriott ballroom, right? Like it doesn't make the painting better. No, that you're related. No. And then there's some images here that look like they're on one of those glass boats that you go on in Amsterdam. What is this? Hold on, let me look at greenhouse or something.
Well, this is so this is it. This is the thing they could not recreate because it did not exist at the time. This is the sunroom. That was upstairs. This is and what this guy did is he bought the house. The story he tells is that he's like, I bought this picture with me standing with this nice bald man. This is Martin Ravenhill,
right,
with Mike Carlson,
right.
But anyway, he was living in like Africa or South America, working in some sort of mining, I think. I'm not sure what his job was.
Martin Ravenhill was?
Yes.
Okay.
His friend asked him to torrent Behind the Candelabra and sent it to him.
Okay.
Martin Ravenhill had never seen Behind the Candelabra, was curious about it. Instead, he just ends up on a YouTube video that was like, we have to save Liberace's mansion. It's full of squatters. It's been owned by the bank for so long. This guy's like, I should do that. He flies to Vegas and buys it like the next week.
Okay.
And then, and it was full of squatters. It was full of people that just had taken over the house, living in the bathroom with that Liberace in the ceiling. Can you imagine like being on drugs and you were just like in that bathroom looking up at that man in the ceiling? And he like painstakingly restored every single piece of the mansion over years and years. So with his own money.
He wasn't a Liberace guy before this.
He was
says,
called.
Like, in the tour,
was he a house
road
restorer
to Damascus,
or just a rich guy? Like just a rich weirdo.
He'd never restored a house before like this. But he was like, I don't know why I did this. He says that multiple times in the tour. I've done the tour twice now. I did it. And I really say this is the best thing to do in Vegas is to tour the Liberace mansion. It's cool.
On the advice of I believe your advice and also the podcast The Ride Guys, I think Jason Woliner also weighed in on this. I did get to see the David Copperfield show. Oh, so
you've met Blue.
I've met Blue 42. 32, excuse me. With Jeremy Allison, who did the art for our show and has also drawn a lot of pictures of the podcast The Ride Guys. We went to see Copperfield like, you know, a couple of months before the allegations. I don't know if he's still doing it. Is he? Do we know?
He's still doing it. He's still doing it more than any. He has still doing more shows than anybody.
And is he still working on disappearing the moon? He announced he was going to make the moon disappear.
That went away really fast.
Oh, okay. That's too bad.
If you search his name in the Epstein files, you do find this really weird, unrelated to Copperfield, but it's somebody being like to Epstein. Like I think Epstein's in prison at this point.
Do you know anything about the moon?
No, he's basically like, hey, you might want to rebrand your island. Copperfield lets people stay there for $30,000 a night. I just met this immersive theater group that is trying to, what do they say? Like partner with an island or like collaborate with an island.
They're doing like GATS on the island. That's cool.
Yeah, basically. But they're doing a thing called, it's called like Unallowed. It's a very naughty sounding immersive show because I found a description of it. But anyway, this guy's like this immersive theater group like wants to collaborate with an island. Maybe this would be a way to rebrand the island. And then when you read about what their thing is, they're like, this would absolutely not rebrand your island. It would make it even worse.
Yeah, because Copperfield has his own island called Musha Cay or Musha Key.
Yeah.
Okay. And the website also says the islands of Copperfield Bay. I think the lesson of this movie and of all of this is that we have to stop people from having this much money. We have to cap it at like, I don't know, $499,000 maybe should be the most amount of money anyone should ever have.
It's called Unforbidden. That's the immersive.
Unforbidden. Whoa.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Keep the eyes
I just found on my own, guys.
Yeah. Wow.
So anyway, the last thing I was going to see is like this crazy sunroom, which is like one of the most beautiful thing in the house, and if it existed at the time. But the thing is, like, they couldn't recreate this, or they didn't. But this is where he would actually hang out all the time with a young Michael Jackson. And Martin Ravenhill had to find the tile because it had mostly been stripped out. He had to find the people in Turkey who had made the original tile and make them to refire the tile so that he could retile this entire place. He's such an interesting guy.
He's one of the guys who should not be allowed to have money either. To be clear.
No, he can have the money. He's put it to good use.
Look, of all of the weird, the bizarre rich pursuits, restoring a house is like that's.
This came up on our Ocean's 12 episode where we talked about if you're going to use like a legitimate like Florentine or like Medici mansion or something, turn it into a museum that people can visit and spend time at. That's like a nice way to do it.
Maybe hire Michelangelo's relative.
Right.
To paint an okay painting.
He's like an accountant. He's a CPA in Switzerland.
But anyway, that's all and then this little video is of my friend Jessica at the Zsa Zsa auction. So you can see the foyer is very clearly the one that they walk through a bunch of times in the movie, and the living room where they meet Rob Lowe for the first time. That was like, we were in there, like it had this giant gold piano that she got that she painted gold for George Saunders, who was her husband at the time when he won the Oscar for All About Eve. So that was the centerpiece.
Okay.
But there's and the pool is Zsa Zsa's pool, because Liberace's actual pool had a piano painted on the side.
Whoa.
Right. It had the keys. Yeah.
Their pool is just like a regular ass pool.
For a split second, I thought that beloved novelist George Saunders was involved in this. And I was like,
Sanders.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
Sanders was interesting because he married Zsa Zsa, divorced her, and then married her sister Magda. So
right.
his sisters had like 12 marriages, but only 11 husbands, because he was
right.
They were both sisters, and they were also Eskimo sisters.
Why do we not have famous people like this anymore?
I don't know.
Obviously, there's problems with it, and I guess we still do. We still have, some people are saying we still have Jeffrey Epstein. We still have Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
We still have Oprah. We have these weird freaks with like exotic tastes and bizarre personal lives, but like, are we making new ones?
I think all the rich people now are these fucking billionaires with horrible taste, like Elon Musk. They want to put all their money into making an anti-woke video game with like the Rick and Morty guy.
Right.
And that's what they care about. They don't care about having a sunroom.
Or Palantir or something.
Yeah, they're all wearing hoodies. Yeah, the Palantir guy.
Yeah.
It just, how do we, can we infect them with like a aesthetic fixation?
Versailles virus or something?
Can we, exactly.
Yeah.
Queen of Versailles came out the same year as this movie, by the way. So there's mansions are in the air.
Mm-hmm.
But also the Versailles house is fucking hideous. Like they have horrible
awful.
taste too.
That's true.
Those poor lizards. Everybody should check that out. Speaking of the zeitgeist, we do a quick zeitgeist check-in. So just around the time when this movie came out, a couple things. Margaret Thatcher dies. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the Boston Marathon bombing carried out by brothers Tamerlan and Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, who the latter of whom looks remarkably like Ocean's 13 cast member Armin Weitzman. Just to remind everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then June 6th, the day before the UK release of this film, is the first documents are leaked by Edward Snowden. So we're in this
Citizen
moment.
4 era. Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody, speaking of, but after you watch Queen of Versailles, you got to watch Citizen 4 because you can literally watch Snowden's face break out as more of the documents are coming out. You can see him like getting pimples on his chin from being stressed out about probably being killed by the CIA.
Yeah.
So that's the zeitgeist, but we're talking Behind the Candelabra. A little bit of background. The book is written by Scott Thorson, as we've mentioned, who is
and Alex Thorleifson, by the way, I looked it up.
Yes, thank you.
Another Nord.
Scott Thorson, the book comes out in 1988. It's reissued in 2013, obviously. But there have been a number of attempts to try to make a movie out of this because it's, obviously the guy's famous and it's salacious material and juicy roles. There was, at some point, there was, I read like rumors that Robin Williams wanted to play Liberace, which I don't think would have been great.
No. No.
Even if he didn't go, if he tried to do 1 hour photo or whatever, if he tried to do a little
serious
or like
mode,
Birdcage, like the buttoned up, he would have gone too far in the other direction.
Right. So I'm glad that didn't happen. But eventually, Scott Thorson, who had a long and troubled life, which we'll talk about, he sells the rights to Jerry Weintraub of Ocean's 11 production fame. And also like hanging out with George W. Bush fame and stuff. He sells the rights to him in 2008, I think, 2007. And Soderbergh sends an email to friend of the show, I guess we could say, Richard LaGravenese, who wrote Bridges of Madison County.
Yes. Yep.
Which we talked about a very long time ago. But as LaGravenese puts it, I've known Soderbergh for years, since Out of Sight. They worked together on Aaron Brockovich. It was in the summer of 2008 that I got an email from him saying, I have this Liberace biography. Would you be interested? I'm not kidding. And that was it. So he writes the script, and almost immediately Soderbergh buddies, Michael Douglas and Matt Damon, are interested and attached. And for like 4 years, they're just sort of like, I don't know, spiritually attached. They're code of honor attached because they
keep saying that they're committed to it. Yeah. They're sort of promising that they're still on board. I mean, this is the moment that we've brought up previously on other episodes where it was just considered too gay to produce. This was like At least Soderbergh's representation of it.
Yeah, which is crazy. Soderbergh will talk about his sort of funny line is like, this is after Brokeback Mountain, and our movie is funnier than that. And yet none of the studios would give them $5 million. They would say that they don't know how to promote it. And I did look up, like the year prior to this, you have both Rock of Ages and Les Mis come out and make money. They know how to promote this. They're just, honestly, I don't even know if I believe that it's I don't understand.
I feel like doing the Zeitgeist check-in, if we're recalling what life was like in 2010, whatever, 2008 is Prop 8's era when they're trying to get this stuff produced. So literally there's a lobbying passed in California specifically that is saying that we don't like gay marriage or the idea of gay people. Right, but like
everybody in Hollywood was like vocally against that. So you'd think that getting two big movie stars to do this, Eva.
I think that the other thing, though, is that this movie is at its heart a TV movie. It's true. Like an elevated TV movie. It's a thing that like Ryan Murphy has been doing ever since. Like everyone's like the Wild Boys, the thing that's coming out about Siegfried and Roy is going to be grasping for this tone.
Yeah.
Which one is Pontius playing?
Wait, what? Oh, Wild Boys. Oh, yeah. It took me a second.
I didn't know it was called The Wild Boys. I'm
and
mad now.
Andrew Garfield and Jude Law.
Oh, yeah. I've seen, I think that, didn't a picture come out of them in a bunch of prosthetics?
It's based on a podcast, and they actually are filming in their original Vegas house because it hasn't been touched.
Is Chevy Chase going to be in it? Are they going to get the guy from the Saturday Night Live movie to play Chevy Chase in it?
I love that guy. Have you seen Mountainhead? He's so good. He plays Elon Musk in Mountainhead. It's really good.
No. I like
Corey Michael Smith?
The guy from May December. He's real good in May December.
Yes, he is.
He's really, really funny in Mountainhead. Anyway,
I mean, I guess you're right. And thinking about it coming out in or like starting in 2008 it's a very different moment than 2012. Right. But another thing that happens, which we've gestured at, I hesitate to say we've had just a little taste of the story, but Michael Douglas is
certainly had a taste of the story.
He's waylaid by throat cancer, which he very publicly attributes to, and it's a Guardian article. It's an interview, I believe, in promotion of this film, where he says that he got throat cancer as a result of HPV, the human papillomavirus, which he got from oral sex.
I do feel like he's the only person that could get away with this, saying that and have everyone go like, well, considering
he has a weird combination of gravitas and also like kind of silly. Yeah.
Well, and his whole thing is like kind of being, he's like a Jack Nicholson where he's sort of grody in a alluring way. Like he's slimy. He says specifically, because without wanting to get too specific, this particular cancer is caused by HPV, which actually comes about from cunnilingus. And the Guardian interviewer says, pardon me? And he says, from cunnilingus. I mean, I did worry if the stress of my son's incarceration didn't help trigger it. His son had a drug arrest and was in jail for a couple months. But yeah, it's a sexually transmitted disease that causes cancer. And if you have it, cunnilingus is also the best cure for it. It giveth and it taketh.
I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
I don't think you have like getting more HPV salt cures or HPV.
I think you're right.
The hair of the dog, I bet you.
I want to shout out.
I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. That was an accident. Truly.
Mexican scientist Eva Ramon Gallegos, who I believe has just made a humongous breakthrough in HPV treatment.
Yes.
So
Isn't she from Oaxaca?
I don't know is that true?
I think
don't know
so.
that.
Yeah,
okay.
they're making strides. Everybody get
Michael Douglas,
HPV vaccine
you're wrong.
if you can.
There is a cure.
Yeah, well, the Guardian also did. They did reach out to some doctors who were like, I don't know what he's talking about.
Maybe it's about the stress that it relieves stress to perform cunnilingus on Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Like an oxytocin thing, maybe.
He's being, in my mind, he's being a kind of gentleman where he's
trying to say like this stuff's still good, everybody.
And he's trying also to say like, don't worry, I haven't stopped providing for my wife's needs or whatever.
He's still eating pussy.
Yeah, yes,
exactly. How could you not? Like, I think he's also the tone is like, how you guys. I'm the luckiest man alive.
Right.
Yeah. She's like 25 years younger.
Mm-hmm.
He did eventually say that he regretted the embarrassment that it caused Catherine and her family.
He raised awareness.
Yeah.
He did. He
you
was
get throat cancer from HPV.
Yeah, so just get the vaccine. It's all good. But he apparently had stage 4 throat cancer. And then did a bunch of chemo and lost like 40 pounds or something, and then he got back on top. But you can tell he's looking a little haggard in this movie, although some of that is prosthetic.
Yeah.
So they had to postpone the movie, and that moved some things around, and because Soderbergh wanted it to be his last film before he retires, which is part of why the Man from U.N.C.L.E. movie fell apart.
Have you talked about, or are you going to talk about his T-shirt and brandy website?
Oh, we
had a whole episode just about the brand.
We have done a whole Patreon episode.
You drink
about
the Sangiani? Is that what it's called?
It's called Singani 63.
And look,
I was going to reveal this.
We like it too. We try not to be shills for the directors that we talk about, but we enjoyed drinking this beverage.
It's the best celebrity alcohol.
Yeah.
Next time Ian was in town, I was going to give him one of these, but I did go to eBay, and I got some bucket hats that say WTF is Singani 63. They gave these out to bartenders for free.
That's cool.
So if you get two of them, they were like $3.50 each on eBay. So Ian, you've got a bucket hat coming
so much.
I bought several T-shirts from the Vague T-shirt website. There's one for like Macondo Apartments, which is a location in Chinatown.
I'm starting to imagine that your apartment or house is a bit like a Liberace style, just like museum of intense artifacts, heavy artifacts.
Yes, cursed items. That's why my husband says there's a shelf in the closet which is the cursed item shelf where the things have to sit on the shelf.
Do you have a locked case like for the Annabelle doll?
I should probably.
You walk past, you see that the key has been turned very slightly. So very briefly, I mean, I think people who are listening to the show probably have seen this movie and they know the story. But Ian, would you like to give us a real quick plot summary?
Yep, we'll keep it brief. Scott Thorson, young man coming out of foster homes, a difficult childhood, young
sort
gay
of
man.
Unclear how young, too. Sometimes he'll say 16, sometimes he says 18. I mean, but like young.
Yes.
Working on set, though. He's got a set job.
Right. Yeah, he's like an animal handler, dog handler on sets in Southern California. And the film starts, I believe, in 1977, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yes.
So he is put in contact by our friend Scott Bakula with Liberace, and he sees one of his shows. He's sort of astounded by the presence of this man, his whatever sense of fun on stage, his ability to engage with the audience. He meets Liberace backstage, and as part of a bit of like heavy foreshadowing, he sees that Liberace already has this sort of protege / lover, maybe / unclear relationship with a young man who is
Billy Leatherwood, yeah, who is extremely like visibly frustrated with all of Liberace's shit and his flirting and everything about him, played by Cheyenne Jackson of 30 Rock fame. And so Scott is flirting with Liberace, obviously wins him over and is immediately brought into his life. Liberace finds a job for him, kicks out Billy Leatherwood, and makes him a part of his life in every sense, right? He's like, he tells him explicitly, I want to be your everything. I want to be your lover, your dad, your best friend, your neighbor, whatever. And then what seems to start as a nice relationship over time develops into something that is unhealthy for both of them. Scott seems to fall into a drug habit, in part started by Liberace's prompting for him to lose weight. Liberace encourages him to get these strange plastic surgery operations from Rob Lowe. And these are meant to make him look like Liberace because he also maybe wants Scott to be like a son to him and he considers adopting him. And over the course of this, they have sort of like normal relationship squabbles that are made much stranger by the fact that Scott is his employee and his like operates in these different tiers, basically. So over time, the drug habit gets worse. Liberace is clearly like sleeping with other people and this sort of
hot and cold with Scott all the time, right? Saying like, I want you to be my everything, or I want us to have an open relationship, and is clearly sort of like leaving him behind. And then eventually he does to Scott what he had done to Billy Leatherwood, which is have his employees kick Scott out, and is sort of like in an extremely impersonal way removes him from his life entirely. Scott seeks a palimony suit to sort of get some type of recompense. And the final chapters of the film follow this sort of like epilogue of Scott maybe having kind of found his footing, while Liberace ends up with HIV and is sort of privately dying of this while trying to keep it from the media, and ultimately does die of AIDS-related complications. And Scott goes to see him before he dies, and they have kind of a little moment of reconciliation. Mm-hmm. And I think those are the big beats. Anything else I missed? Yeah, Eva, please.
Can I add one thing that
of course.
You skipped over? When Scott gets kicked out, he also gets replaced with a younger version.
It's true. Right. Yes, Boyd
Played
Holbrook.
by Boyd Holbrook, who I don't know if you guys watched the show, The Apple Show, The Morning Show.
No, I haven't seen it.
The most recent season 4 of The Morning Show, Boyd Holbrook played a character who is a Joe Rogan type character named Brody Bro Hartman, who has a show called a live podcast called The Bro Zone.
Okay,
really great.
And then he has sex with Jennifer Aniston's character, and kind of like lightly Me Too's her. But the Bro Zone, he haunts my life because it's the most insane character on the previous season. And I was like, where do I know this younger Scott from? And when I realized it was Bro, my mind was blown. That's it.
Has there been a good depiction of podcasting on TV or in a movie?
I don't think so. I mean, it's so static.
There's I like at the beginning of the David Gordon Green Halloween reboot where those podcasters get brutally murdered. That's fun.
Yeah, that's healthy. Yeah.
I saw some of the Maron show and it seemed, fine, I guess, but mostly I think that show's about his cat or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think we've gotten there yet. Isn't there? I haven't watched the And Just Like That, but I believe there's a lot of.
No, that's terrible. That's horrible.
Right. People think that's particularly bad.
You can't do shows about podcasts. Like you can't do movies about stand-up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Except for King of Comedy.
Yeah. Right. And is this thing on? Of course.
Best movie of 2025.
Best picture. They already announced it, I think, right?
Yeah.
So mercifully, this is all pre-podcast. This film, but where should we begin? I mean, there's sort of so much to cover here. I do think maybe the 2 lead performances.
Oh yeah.
We should discuss. Michael Douglas is just transcendent as Liberace. I mean, I think he's the villain of the piece.
Well, it's a little bit of a monster movie.
Yes. Yeah.
It is it is a little bit of like a Frankenstein.
Well, in the book, actually, Scott Thorson literally says the older Lee got, the more younger men appealed to him. In that regard, he was a Dracula who never wearied of the taste and touch of youth.
Yeah.
So you're onto something.
I wonder if this also is maybe Matt Damon's best performance in anything.
It's excellent, although
it's quite good.
Informant's also wonderful. Another Soderbergh.
Yes. I love Informant too. I made me go down a rabbit hole of there's actually like 5 or 10 I could list for that. But I mean, this is such because like Scott is such an imperfect victim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he's so gullible, and he just the fact that Liberace's like, tell what's going on with you. What's your story? And he's just like, well, my dad died, and then I lived in foster homes, and then my mom was, and you're just like, what are you doing, Scott? Like, don't put it all out there right now. It's like, and then when he asks him to get surgery, he doesn't push back at all. It's like everything is Liberace's fault, but also the movie does a good job of also like implicating Scott.
I think so too. Yeah, I think the film, I mean, having his foster parents be like, I would say period appropriate, lightly conservative and homophobic, but also it seems like, who knows how true this is, but have sort of like passively accepted Scott and his sexuality. And when they express concern about him, it's not about like, hey, have you considered being straight? It's about like, hey, this like older man who wants to be your employer / lover. That seems really unhealthy and weird. And Scott says, I think he has a line where he says, I'm going in with my eyes open. And they, obviously feel like that's not the case. Right.
She says, like, the stepmom who's like, I mean, the foster mom who's like the less homophobic. There's a great scene where she just says, "Do you like this person?"
Yeah. It's a really nice line.
It's really like that. She really just wants to know if he's happy. You know, it's like, it's not about being gay or he's just like, it's like, is this like, would you be happier with a normal relationship?
Yeah, and it's right after the awful blowjob, like whatever, second to The Shining as like the worst on-screen blowjob that we've ever seen, where this is like, you know, he's clearly like trying to make himself accept this arrangement.
Yeah. The one hang up I have about it is that Damon's like 42 when they make this, literally playing.
I was kind of impressed. Am I a dupe? I mean, I don't know if it's the shooting, you know, he's using enough diffusion lenses or something. He looked kind of fresh in the opening bar scene with Scott Bakula. I thought he looked young. Right.
I mean, I was just thinking, though, about like the Elvis movie, the Baz Luhrmann Elvis movie and Priscilla dichotomy, where like when you, in the Coppola movie, like you see how much of a child they cast Kaylee Spaney, who just looks so much younger, and I wonder if like the optics of it would be, because like when he's with Boyd Holbrook, where it's so much clearer, like this is a boy, he's a little boy he's dealing with, and Damon is fantastic in it, but I wonder if like some of the inherent inappropriateness is lost when the actors are like both adults and like 12 years apart instead of 40.
Do you let Liberace off the hook a little bit because there's a 40-year-old playing instead of a little boy? Right. It's and like Nightmare Alley a little bit. Like like
right.
Like he's supposed to be 18 in that too.
Yeah, I mean, and unfortunately, in Nightmare Alley, Bradley Cooper shows hog, and I feel like there should have been some hog in this, especially if it's on HBO. Like,
and he dies of old age.
Yeah,
that's how that movie ends.
Right.
Yeah. He's wearing a nose, right, Michael Douglas,
and a chin.
And a chin.
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry. Douglas definitely, but then eventually Damon has got that little puppetoon. He looks like a puppetoon eventually. He looks like
he does.
Look, I mean, you must have seen, I don't know, do they have pictures of Scott Thorson at the house, or is this like excised from the Liberace story?
One thing that we should see if it's online, you guys should check later, is that they do show you the opening of Liberace's Vegas show, which is about him going through every room in the house and getting up and playing piano in every single room. And then he gets in his car and drives away and drives on stage, and then you see the opening of his stage show, and the chauffeur gets out and he goes,
"I want you to meet my friend over there. That's Scott Thorson." Thank you, Scott.
And everyone out in like both tour, the time I did the tour, everyone just like gasped that that's who we were looking at with Scott.
Yeah. But I mean, if you look at pictures, the chin and the nose are crazy. The operations that he got are really upsetting to think of. If you had known this person, you saw this happen to them, you would be disturbed by this.
I mean, well, in Thorson, which maybe we'll say this for later, you know, it's he continues to have to live a difficult life. It seems like he started started difficult. The whole thing was tough, but like. Later interviews and stuff, and he did a little promotion around this movie, around the time of this movie. Like, he still looks odd. He got the chin implant removed, which was, I think, like a real sort of personal exorcism.
Yep.
But he's still like, the cheekbones are too sharp. He looks a little plasticine.
He was the key witness in the Wonderland murders.
We're gonna get to that.
Oh God,
we'll talk about
his mugshot is the first thing that comes up. The chin is horrific.
The chin is horrific. I do think the whole time watching this movie again for this episode, I was trying to figure out who Michael Douglas Liberace was reminding me of with the nose, with the voice. It finally came to me. He's really reading as Jeannie Berlin. Like, there's a real Jeannie Berlin look, especially like elder Jeannie Berlin when her voice got quite gravelly. Yeah, which is fun. But like, I appreciate Douglas going full Queen. Like, he's not holding anything back.
And sometimes he sort of remembers it, but not in a way that's distracting to me. But
maybe that was part of the Conolingus story, was like, just so everyone knows I was acting.
When you were talking about that, it did occur to me that maybe he wanted to hit this harder, sort of like, this is fiction. I'm a man of certain tastes. Right. Yeah.
I enjoy the Welsh variety, I guess. Dan Aykroyd as Seymour Heller. I had forgotten about Dan Aykroyd as the kind of manager fixer. the business guy.
I mean, look, I'm going to be honest, guys. You can push back on this. I have two qualms with this movie. The Seymour character, Dan Aykroyd doing the Seymour thing is too much for me. And also Rob Lowe, sometimes funny, sometimes insane, sometimes like a cartoon on screen to me.
But you just need one. There has to be one character who is just so batshit.
Right.
That like he does represent the like tipping over into horror.
Yeah. The camp element of the movie is the Rob Lowe character. Like otherwise, the movie is not particularly campy.
That's what makes it confusing, I think, to me. Yeah, it's like Scott Bakula's character is like a kind of like a beautifully positioned, like sympathetic, but also is he facilitating Lee, like Liberace's some of his stuff? But does he care about Scott? Like that's a real guy, and then Rob Lowe's character is just like bananas.
His face is like pulled super taut. He was wearing face tape.
Looks like a Team America doll, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone looks a little Mount Rushmore, a little. I was thinking also of the president masks from Point Break.
Sure.
And I mean, if you look at the real Liberace from like the 80s, actual Liberace does look quite a bit to me like a rubber mask of Kirk Douglas, which is interesting. Like he's fucked up looking. You believe that he can't close his eyes all the way.
Yeah.
But the Rob Lowe scenes do just veer into like horror, as you said, Eva, but a kind of like almost like Sam Raimi, like gleeful horror, and you get that scene where they're showing the facelift, which is extremely reminiscent.
Those pieces I liked, actually.
No, I did too, but like
very upsetting close-ups on just like fat being opened up in somebody's face.
Well, there's a really similar shot in Contagion where they're doing the autopsy of Gwyneth Paltrow and they like start to pull her face off of her head.
Yeah.
I mean, I like almost had to look away a little bit at some of this. It was too gnarly. I guess he's getting ready for the Nick.
Yeah.
I guess what the Rob Lowe character reminds me of is the guy that like closes you into the tunnel and goes like, what are we doing, guys? Like, and it's like a particular type of person that only can exist in Vegas and
yes,
and like it's almost like if he left the borders of the city, he would vaporize. It's like
the guys who are trying to lowball, they're trying to have the cheapest boob job in town.
Yeah.
My dad lived in Vegas when I was like 13, 14, and I remember like half of the billboards were like either cheap dental implants or cheap breast implants.
To work there in a lot of jobs, you probably have to have both. You know, like you just have to. If you're going to be at like one of the good strip clubs, you probably have to have.
Yeah, like a Wynn casino or something.
Even like a cocktail waitress. Like I think if you like jobs that are not terribly, they're not like fully sex work. They're just sort of sex work adjacent. I think a lot of it is like you have to look a certain way. But also on the wages of a cocktail waitress, you know.
I mean, I think you're onto something though, even that he also kind of like it's such a distorting figure in like your sense of normalcy, which I think is part of we're talking about what happens to people like Scott Thorson in real life, right? You have these people who come in and they're so to the extreme that even if you are kind of resisting them, because I think there are moments where Scott, it's when he's talking to Nikki Cat, who I also want to talk about. I mean, he's incredible in the film, but I think it's when he's talking to Nikki that he is saying like, well, this is weird, right? He's trying to get me to get these surgeries to look like him. But the fact that Rob Lowe's doctor character takes it so much in stride and is pushing so many things simultaneously that even the like compromise version is still insane, right? And I think that's what happens. It's like,
I'm going to ask for a dimple.
Right.
And that way it's my decision.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I will be granted the dimple.
Right.
Because that's the instead of the compromise being like, what if I don't get any surgery and you get surgery and I take care of you?
Yeah.
What if I get all the surgery but I get to do one thing that's just for me, which is a cleft in my chin?
What if I dye my hair?
Right.
You know, like the surgery is so. I mean, that's the story, right? Like I remember when I first heard about this, it's like, you know, Liberace had like a boyfriend chauffeur that he made get surgery to look like him.
He
like
hollowed out a person and put part of himself into that person. He's a person that has become a different person.
Yeah.
Right.
But I feel like to your point, Jake, like if I was trying to explain to someone why they should watch the movie, that's what I would tell them.
Right.
Eventually he has to get surgery to look like Liberace.
Right.
But there's like, as much as Liberace, especially by the end, comes across as like fully villainous, full evil, there's like those scenes where they're both fat and happy on the couch, like right before the surgeon comes in, where they're They're both wearing like padded bellies and watching TV.
Liberace winked at me. Yeah.
It's like that's so sweet, and you feel as Scott Thorson maintains throughout like his life in talking about this, like there was a genuine loving relationship in there, which is sort of hard for me to stomach. Like I don't know,
but I think you're right. That's what makes it fascinating. I mean, their cute moment is watching tapes of Liberace. Liberace talking about himself, saying that he invented looking at the camera or whatever.
But he was the first guy to look into the camera.
That scene ends with them flipping over to the talk show, and for the first time, Liberace sees how grotesque he's become.
Aged,
and he's like, I'm my father, and that's what sets off the next wave of, of his vanity.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating. I read a little bit of the book, which is very ghostwritten, tell-all kind of book, but it does open with like a bunch of Liberace biography and like acknowledging his sexuality biography, but other than that, like kind of hagiographic, like
here are the difficulties he faced. Here's how he became a prodigy. I think
repeating a lot of the sort of pithy anecdotes that you hear in the movie about, you know, I was playing the Hollywood Bowl and you couldn't see me from the back. And is it okay for me to do the voice? Okay. What if my dad lived in Vegas? Does that help?
Okay, yeah, that helps.
And the stories about, you know, I used to call them saloons and all the stuff about his mother, and like including plenty of the maybe sort of pat Freudian, like this is what created this man, but like it doesn't start as, because we've talked about, I was thinking about Sandra Locke a lot, obviously the palimony and all that, but like Sandra Locke's memoir, which is not ghostwritten or not, she doesn't have an and so it is an extremely difficult text to parse. It's called The Good, the Bad, and the Very Ugly. And, you know, this book called Behind the Candelabra. And I was just thinking about the difficulty and like tragedy of, in order to get any money out of this like traumatic experience, you have to tie your legacy to the much more famous person
you're trying
who hurt
to distance
you.
yourself. Yeah.
I mean, you can't move on. You have to. Yeah.
And even as his life is falling apart, even as he's also like involved in the Wonderland murders, Scott Thorson still, like, the best way he can get by is by reminding everybody of his time with Liberace, which ended in tragedy, and then like I guess a tragic reconciliation. It's not like, you know, they got to live happily ever after or anything. And I wonder what you guys think about the movie's like kind of elision of Thorson's later problems, because at the end of the movie we see Scott Thorson basically having survived and moved on. Like he looks like a guy who gets it all together, which is certainly not the case.
And he's like, I gotta go just visit my friend George Reeves at a party. Bye, Lee. And then it's just like he walks off and you don't know where. Wasn't that Wonderland? Or was it John Holmes?
George Reeves was Superman. I think he might have. He was already dead.
He was also murdered in some weird situation.
Hollywoodland.
Hollywoodland.
Right.
So I gotta go see John Holmes. Bye.
Yeah. Which, like, you know, earlier in the film, he does profess a disgust with the John Holmes type figure in the porno movie. So you wonder how far he's fallen, that he's ended up at the
hanging out with the guy.
House.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Anti-Dirk Diggler, whatever. Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair in that, first of all, it would become a distraction. But we're just talking about like from a screenwriting perspective. I think that would be crazy to say like this guy had another chapter in his life continuing this maybe substance
but I mean,
abuse
even
problem.
To just show him being damaged by the experience, I guess. Like he doesn't, because at the end he's like, he's in a little apartment. He's got a sweater on. Like his apartment is clean and tidy.
Like
you know what
fine.
I mean? Like,
right.
Yeah.
He's not in the mansion, but he's doing okay. I don't know. I wonder if maybe it's just too much to include.
I think it's also just, I think the movie does a good job of being like, this guy is imperfect. Like, you know, he's not a total, but when they have to drag him out and he's like, I'm going to call the police and he's on drugs.
I'm going to call the mafia.
He seems like a fucking disaster that should be thrown out of the house.
Right. I mean, when the movie comes out, Scott Thorson is literally incarcerated in Washoe County Jail in Reno because he was like stealing groceries and stuff. He was like in a really bad way. Meth and stuff involved. He's in and out of jail for like the rest of his life. And he died in 2024, I think.
Yeah, for people who are missing this context, in the film Boogie Nights, the Alfred Molina scene where they show up at a drug dealer's house and then decide to rob the drug dealer, basically, Scott Thorson was just sitting there in the background of that scene in real life, and just he witnessed them bring back one of the robbers and beat him like mercilessly, and that's why he became a key witness in this case.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
And the character played by Nicky Katt, who's known as Mr. Y in the book and in the movie, is based on this guy Eddie Nash, who was also the basis for the Alfred Molina character, and Thorson like claims he was put into witness protection to keep him away from Eddie Nash, but then he's like ends up at a like a Christian halfway house in Florida, and a lot of people have said that, you know, the witness protection program doesn't put you in a halfway house in Florida. Like they
right. It's unclear, but I mean,
yeah.
He also said, whether it's true or not, that he was later like assaulted, because he was assaulted. That is objectively true, but by whom, unclear. But he said by people sent by Eddie Nash, because he was a witness in this case. And what is true, objectively true, is that Eddie Nash bribed the holdout jury member in this case to protect himself. So there was scary stuff going on. Whether it spilled over into Scott's life, who can say?
My favorite of these so-and-so was a witness to so-and-so things that I just learned last year was that the son of Paul Auster and Lydia Davis, the two famous writers, was the key witness in the Party Monster dismembering.
Holy shit.
Whoa.
Yeah. It just came out in his obituary, but they like hid him.
That dude also had an extraordinarily sad end to his life.
Yeah. I mean, this is sort of like the tragic side of so many of these wackos we've talked. I mean, Elvis, Michael Jackson,
whom Scott Thorson claimed to be sleeping with for almost the entirety of his relationship with Liberace.
Yeah, he claimed to have been in a sexual relationship.
That didn't come
with
up
Michael
in
Jackson.
the Thriller Villa at all.
Liberace.
No, Thorson said that he was sleeping with Jackson.
Well, Michael Jackson would hang out in the sunroom. Like that was like the person. They don't talk about Scott Thorson, but they do talk about how Liberace and Michael Jackson were like really close friends. And then Michael Jackson like looked up to Liberace and like modeled a lot of his life after Liberace, which is the connection.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
It does,
mansion-wise and some other stuff as well.
Yeah, clothing.
Mm.
I went to his funeral.
You went to Michael Jackson's funeral, like the big one, or
I won the lottery and got tickets to his ticket lottery, and I went
at Staples. Or how was it?
Weird.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of any of these people that I
that's what makes it special.
That was my question. Is like, are you hurt by the fact that we're saying Liberace was a creep?
No, I don't care about him at all. I think I think he's just surrounded by his very nature of being this almost like living this eccentric, greedy, somewhat fraudulent existence. He also drew things and people to him that are by their very nature like very, very fascinating.
Look, I think you've just touched on things that we have to get to. Two pieces that I'm interested in that I hope we can discuss. One, the word fraudulence. What do we think about the history of this? I think the film is trying to confront a queer man who, in the public eye, denied being gay at every moment and had suits to protect this, maybe for legitimate reasons, but also
But society, I think nowadays would maybe not have to. Like it's also
that's the question.
By society necessity, especially when he started. Yeah,
it would have been illegal in England where these tabloids were coming out.
Definitely, but I was watching some old stuff. So I watched the A&E biography special on Liberace, which has like Debbie Reynolds is in it because they were friends. Debbie Reynolds plays his mother in the film briefly, her final film role, and it's got Milton Berle's in it. And they all, at least in, I think it was 2000, 2002, like early 2000s when this thing came out, they were all talking about how Liberace held out on coming out too long. Like they were suggesting that it was sort of his hang up.
Interesting.
Which I don't know. I mean, you know, in the 80s, obviously, especially once HIV is everywhere, this is when Bowie starts wearing suits, right? I mean, that like people are veering away from androgyny at the time, but they all seem to characterize it as Liberace's like stubbornness. And then I watched a CTV sketch that was like Liberace's Celebrity Christmas Special or something, and it literally he's playing Deck the Halls, and then when he says fa la 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 la, and then a guy in leather cracks a whip across his back, like to punctuate it. So like everyone's making the joke. I watched a special where he's in London and his mother comes on. His mother is like on the stage with him and he like sings a song to her. But he says,
and you know something else? She's a great grandmother. Is that one? Yeah. I had nothing to do with it.
And like everyone laughs and like he's sort of clearly in on the joke there.
Well, I mean, we see that in the film, right? The sort of like playing with, do people in his audience recognize his queerness, his, what amount of this is like winking to the audience? But I was reading from this book, The Celluloid Closet, which is kind of like a classic, like queer history of Hollywood. And what it talks about is the fact that these were like both allowing the audience, the members of the audience who are conservative and didn't want to acknowledge it, to sort of like blind themselves to this fact, but also that maybe in doing that type of thing, it's like even more destructive because you are leaning into this idea that like gayness is something to be concealed in film and whatever, right? It's something that we are allowed to reference, but in referencing it, we are saying like, this is not something for public consumption. This is not something we discuss openly. So like even your parents, I mean, they were from, Vegas and Southern California. So I'm sure they were aware of him being gay and comfortable with it. But was there like any illusions, you think, about who he was?
Not in my family at all. I mean, I feel like that was what he was selling. Like, it does make me think of like Bob Baker, who owned the Marionette Theater, the very famous LA icon, who was actually a contemporary of Liberace, maybe a little bit, because he died like at almost 100 recently. But he came out immediately. And he was like an openly gay man who built the theater with his like husband and lived as a gay man. And because of that was just completely edged out of everything that could have given him like wealth and fame in Los Angeles. Like he didn't get to do Disney. He didn't get to do all these things that
he didn't get to be Jim Henson when he might have. Yeah.
And like was forced out of, all these parts of, and ended up just having to just settle for his like puppet theater. But and it's funny that like that's the option, I guess, at the time, is like come out completely or conceal it and stay in the closet, and then have this other option where you can have like all this glory and fame. But it's really tough. I don't just be like, I don't mean fraud. When I say fraudulent, I'm thinking more about like the way like he concealed everything about himself, not just saying to be closeted is to be fraudulent. Because
no.
But like one, and I was reading, I revisited the Susan Sontag article, Notes on Camp, just to bone up.
Yep.
And she links, obviously this is like, it's 1964, so she does mention homosexuality to an extent. It was like in a, I don't know if it was in Harper. It was a highfalutin magazine where you could acknowledge these things more than the Vegas stage. But she talks about how there's like a specific moment, like in terms of the history of aesthetics, that is like, that lends itself to camp the most, the Baroque and the Rococo reaching its height in like the 19th century art, and then classical ballet, opera she mentions, and then movies and popular music she identifies as like intensifying all of this. So there's like I think a specific thing about the moment where Liberace lives, not just in terms of like attitudes about homosexuality, but also the way that, I don't know, age cohorts are like relating to this particular type of music and type of art. And like, it's always fascinating to me to think about like what people's grandparents would have been into. Like, what are Liberace's grandparents? What does their house look like? Or what kind of music do they like? And so he's at this weird moment where like all of that stuff, all of, the columns and the filigrees and the fancy stuff that he has in his house, that like meant refinement to people a little while prior to him, and now that fraudulent idea, it's like this cartoon of opulence and this cartoon of
it's
wealth.
Like crushing every historical aesthetic into like a single aesthetic, which was also very strange. Like he has, like you mentioned, like Austrian or Bavarian stuff, and he has Roman columns that he's brought in, or Greek columns, whatever it is.
Extraordinarily Trumpian.
Oh, yeah, very Trumpy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's so Mar-a-Lago.
He also presents as European until he opens his mouth. You'll be like, this is a famous guy from Europe. And then you're like, no, he's from fucking Milwaukee. Like, his name sounds like he's Italian.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But like, then he speaks and you're like, this guy is from Wisconsin.
Yeah, he's got such a silly voice. Like, even before I feel like his voice, he like sort of queers his voice as the years go on. Like, if you watch him on TV in the 50s, it's a lot. He sounds less like he does in the 80s. But he's such a. I was fascinated that he had such an audience in the UK because he seems like such a American American
parody misunderstanding European wealth
of
or something,
like continental refinement or something. But like part of the camp of it also is his like is it bowdlerizing? Is that how you say the word? His like
bowdlerizing,
his sort of making digestible and making like almost like a vaudeville or something out of this fancy classical music and the candelabra and the furs and stuff. Like he's bringing these sort of like European court fanciness signifiers into Vegas schlock for everybody.
I mean, the most like there's nothing more telling that like the main thing in his museum and then in the Thriller Villa is that he owned the world's largest rhinestone.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can see it, and it's like it was specially made for him, but it is a fucking rhinestone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, rhinestones are they just glass?
It's just glass, yeah.
It's just glass.
But what do they say in the film that just the rhinestones on the coat are worth $100,000 or something?
Right.
Yeah, they're crystals. Swarovski crystals are, I guess, glass, but they are made in a specific way, and they're expensive.
I couldn't do it, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Seems hard to do.
Yeah.
One thing I watched a number of clips of Liberace on Letterman, and I was fascinated by how much Letterman seems to like love and respect him.
Well, the beginning of the film and the end as well, I think they effectively communicate that he was a prodigious showman, right? Like when he's on stage.
Well, Milton Berle says he was the best performer head ever seen, the best showman he'd ever seen.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, people talk about him not being like a truly virtuoso pianist, the way he sort of like billed himself. But
right.
I mean, he's probably like the best pianist anybody had ever seen. If you go to see his, like you personally, just like statistically, he's the best pianist you've ever seen.
That was actually Milton Berle.
Okay.
He flattens the kind of like when you go to the symphony or whatever, they're going to play like what's in the program for that time. And they've already played Mahler this season and they're bored with it. They're going to play some guy you've never heard of. And like, you have to know when to clap. And like Liberace's going to take requests from the audience.
He says it's classical with the boring parts cut out, I think, or something like that. Yeah,
exactly. You can yell out Beethoven's Fifth and he'll be like, of course I will play Beethoven's Fifth, as opposed to like Dudamel, who would, have you escorted out or whatever.
And the two things you see him play in the show are the Boogie Woogie, which is not classical at all, and Man of La Mancha, which is just from a fucking musical. Like it's not even you don't even see him doing. He's doing Vegas things people would want to see in Vegas.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, he reminded me. Jake and I have seen. We went several times to see John Bryan. I
was thinking of John Bryan as well.
Oh yeah,
yes.
Kaufman collaborator. And it is, I mean,
monthly shows at Largo in LA for people who don't know. He
still does them, but
but you go see this guy who's like a true like virtuoso who kind of do whatever is speaking to him, but then he also takes requests, but does the Liberace thing.
I was going to say he played like, what was it, like soft cell or something in the style of, I don't know, like polka or something. I don't know. And you're like, this is insane to watch somebody with this ability.
Someone will yell out "creep." And he'll just do it as Tom Waits without like explaining why.
Right.
But it's also really good.
Yeah. And he's an entertainer. He's not just like a weird, like you came out to my show to see me. And we should all be having a good time is probably his attitude.
One of the things I think Letterman loves about him also is that he is from this like earlier class of entertainers, and he's talking, Liberace's telling the story of like when he first played in New York or something. He's talking about being at the Plaza, and he was on the show. He's talking about the origin of the candelabra. And he was on a show with Hildegard, do you know Hildegard? And Letterman's like, no. Who's Hildegard? Like, he really needs to know. And Hildegard was like this great supper club act who was like a refined lady. And so Liberace wanted to fit in. So he put the candelabra up. But
don't you think that he probably like was raised on Liberace too? Like his mom probably played Liberace in the house, and he watched him on TV, and like he thought that was what a cool guy was. I mean, it's like I can see it that being like someone he probably watched like Bob and Ray and Liberace and all these like early TV people, and you know.
Right. Well, there's also a way that I was thinking about this when you brought up Bob Baker. I'm glad you did. Like, there's an overlap with like queer culture of a certain time, certainly, and like children's entertainment, like the bigness and the
goofiness,
silliness, and also kids are just, they don't have the hang-ups. So like little boys can like, you know, Vincent Price or whatever, or like
there's not like a vision of masculinity. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, bright colors are for everybody until you hit puberty, and then all of a sudden half of everyone has to not like the bright colors or else they'll get beat up. Did you guys have I was just thinking about this. Did you guys have the earring thing? Was this at your elementary school? Was one ear piercing was gay? Do you remember this?
Well, it was which ear is it? I think people talked about
the left one. I could never remember if it was the left or right. We also had white sneakers were gay.
Oh, we didn't have that. That's maybe Virginia.
No, this was when I was in LA.
Okay,
yeah. Really? I don't know. Yeah,
I definitely knew the ear piercing. I don't know about white sneakers.
It might have just been one of those things that like, you know, someone's brother said that, and then it became the thing at this school specifically.
Well, using that as a segue, I think one of the things the film does extraordinarily well, I don't know if you guys agree, is representing the messiness specifically of like mid-century queer relationships, whether that is because they're like difficult to find or difficult to resolve. I mean, it brought to mind like kind of a tragic, strange story, but the author Samuel Delany, who I'm a fan of, he had like a formative relationship, I think at maybe like 9 or 11 or something, with like a much older man, like a middle-aged adult. But it's something that he defends because what he says is like, I was like a gay black child in a place where nobody talked about any of those things. And like this person came in and was like gentle and modeled positive behavior to me. Obviously, I think to us that sounds, you know, problematic and troubling. But what the film does, I think, is raise these questions of like, well, in this world where it's difficult to be like this and you're hiding yourself all the time, like what does this look like? And I wanted to read very quickly from Liberace, American Boy, which is a book by Darden, Asbury, Pyron, speaking of wonderful names. So it says in the chapter about Thorson, says, had you and Street been lovers? The deposing attorneys inquired. Thorson said no. They rephrased the question. Had you had a sexual relationship? They asked. Now he said yes. The lawyers seemed incredulous. This is not being lovers, they demanded. What does being lovers mean to you? They pressed. Well, Thorson mulled the question over. There's many different terms of being lovers I wouldn't know. So it's sort of like this time when like there isn't like a consensus on what a relationship is even supposed to look like, right? Because it's all outside of the accepted
defining
behavior.
This legally, there's a part in the very early in the Behind the Candelabra book where Thorson is talking about, I think they mention it in the movie, talking about the Green Bay Packer, who was Liberace's first male sexual companion. And he says, the book says, the truth is almost every gay has something like that football player in his past. An older man usually gives a boy his first experience. In the gay community, they say, first you sell it. Most young gay men have older lovers who act as mentors. Then you give it away with a sexual partner your own age. And then you buy it by having a younger lover. That football player became Lee's lover, and experience that made an indelible impression on Lee. Now, like, we're not the people to weigh in on this too terribly deeply, but like, it does seem like, to my mind, there is like some aspect of kind of learned behavior in what Liberace's doing, some aspect also of like a result of the closet, like a consequence of hiding, but then also maybe just like
and like self-infatuation that he had, and his weird like God granted special powers that he believes,
right? The Catholicism that persists is so fascinating.
It also reminds me of, do you guys, like Scotty Bowers was coming to mind a little bit. Did you guys ever see Scotty in the Secret History of Hollywood?
Oh, yeah, that guy. He was like the gay fixer of Hollywood.
He's it's a documentary because he's in it. It's so fascinating, where he basically was this guy who he was a super cute like guy who got out of the military and worked at a gas station and would set up celebrities with each other, basically.
Interesting. Okay.
In gay relationships. And because of that, like had all these really close friendships with like Katharine Hepburn and all these people that he talks about, but would never take money. He just did it because he like loved people being happy so much.
He claimed to have brought Alfred Kinsey a lot of his interview subjects.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was like he was doing it for love of the game, for the knowledge of humankind.
And he's like a gleeful old man talking about it too. He just seems like he's having so much fun. In the last half hour of the movie, they're like, "Hey, anything happened to you when you were young?" And he's like, "Actually, yeah."
Yeah,
some
now that you
stuff.
mention it.
You're like, "Yeah, you mentioned that there's some stuff," but he's like, "But I'm cool with that." Like, you know, this teacher.
There's also, it's happened I think more than once now, like the Kevin Spacey defense where like when he is accused of impropriety, he then one of the things people got mad at him for was like he immediately came out of the closet and said basically like the closet made me behave inappropriate or like I've suffered from this, which that is true, like this, but that doesn't excuse
the non-consensual behavior,
all behavior,
exactly.
But then when we're talking about like potentially like a 17-year-old boy, that's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Even if the old man is, I mean, it seems like Scott could have physically removed Liberace from his person if he needed to, but like,
as we've talked about, he's also his employer. He's now become a father figure for a person who had a tumultuous childhood in that regard.
Yeah, but that's not exclusively a gay thing, of course, because I was thinking about like Citizen Kane and The Man Who Fell to Earth and these other movies about like a rich man who has his staff fire his wife. Like that's not at all just Liberace. It's part of a classic thing
wealth
of like,
arrangement.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
They also make a point of just at the very beginning, like sexuality entirely aside, they're like, Scott is an incredibly vulnerable person.
Yeah.
He's a broken person. Like he shows up, he's like, I'm broken. I'll believe it. I just want someone to love me. I'm so fucked up. And then Liberace's like, perfect. Like I've been waiting for you to walk in my door. I think that's part of the narrative. It's like, he doesn't have a baseline reality.
And one of the most hurtful things, there's that funny like revolving door sequence where he's walking in as Billy Leatherwood is walking out like around this like round table. But then later, one of the most hurtful things in the movie is when it all shakes out and he gets $98,000 and he says that he found out Billy Leatherwood got more.
Yeah. But I wanted to, I mean, even do you think, because we've talked about him being the villain, Liberace being the villain, but I guess one of the things I like about this movie is that it doesn't make it seem like he's like entirely knowing. It's not like he's like consciously saying, I'm going to prey on this person so much as he's saying like, this is perfect because I can see they keep using that Liberace quote where he says like, I love the way you make me act or whatever the quote is. Like, I love the person I am when I'm with you.
Yeah.
Sort of like I'm drawn to you because you have this like pure admiration or infatuation or something, not because like I see you as a victim necessarily.
No, he genuinely wants to protect Scott. I mean, I feel like that's part of the initial thing. And it's like he wants to make his life like soft and sweet for this guy, like, and so it comes in, somebody comes in up to you and is like, I'm entirely broken, beautiful person. You can be like, ha ha ha, one for me. Or you can be like, oh, okay, I actually can be helpful to this person.
I'm perfect because I'm a nice person who wants to help people like you.
Right.
So, yeah.
And he also, there are interviews with his other members of his staff in the A&E biography thing and talking about the gifts that he gave them, people like women who worked for him they revolted him sexually, women. And they talked about how, like she's, I think the person depicted in the film, but he had a black woman who worked in his house, and she said that every time she was going on a date, Liberace would like bring her a dress that he bought because he wanted her to look nice for her date, which is, one weird form of manipulation and like golden handcuffs entrapment or whatever, but also like kindness on his part.
Yeah,
and he's
thoughtful. Yeah. Like, I'm thinking about you. I want you to have nice things.
Right. And then of course the in the boardroom scene where they're the like negotiation scene where he's talking about the gifts that he gave Scott, and he's so cruel and like callous and says that he was on staff and he just gives people gifts sometimes. Like, there's a way that it could be read as, well, if you give everyone on staff the gifts, then you can argue later that your employee, who was also your lover, was just your employee.
Yeah, it's self-protection.
This is the Brian Johnson, the speaking of vampire strange weirdos.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
I believe he also had a relationship with a woman who was previously his employee, and then when they separated or something, she was trying to seek some type of recompense also, and he made similar arguments of well, I did these things for her as an employee, not...
Yeah, he needed someone to measure his son's erectile hardness.
Right,
and so she was the person
she has no right to this stuff because it wasn't from our personal relationship.
Oof.
Yeah. Again, $499,000. I think that's... Who needs more than that?
Yeah.
Also, Eva, you reminded me talking about the Martin Ravenwood, is that his name?
Martin Ravenhill.
Mm-hmm.
Ravenhill, sorry. I was thinking of
Wait, am I wrong? No,
I was thinking of Indiana Jones' girlfriend.
That is what you said earlier, certainly.
Yeah, I'm just going to make sure.
Yeah. I was thinking of Marion Ravenswood, who is Karen Allen from Indiana Jones. Yeah.
Yes, this is him. Yes.
Ravenhill. Okay.
Ravenhill.
When Liberace's on Letterman's asking him about all his rings, and at least one of the rings was a little piano that you could open the top of, and all that. But he's got this one insane ring that's 3 rings welded together.
Okay.
And Liberace said that he got that from his 3 tours of South Africa. Now, this is 1984.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be doing that. And he said his staff gave him, his management gave him the ring to celebrate the tour, and then he had them all welded together into one ring. But he claimed he never bought a piece of jewelry for himself. He always got it from other people. So he's doing this weird, I'm super rich, but I'm also I'm just beloved thing.
Yeah.
Very bizarre. What a man. What a figure, huh?
Just in Googling, guys, this is super sad. I just found out Martin Ravenhill died right after I visited the mansion the last time. Yeah. He passed away in July of last year.
Oh, man.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace to a real one. He was really a fascinating dude.
As I said before, I think of all the weirdo fixations to have when you have too much money. He had one of the better ones.
Yeah. He just dedicated his life to bringing back all this really beautiful, odd stuff and restoring it to where it belonged.
Bizarre stuff.
Preservation and public.
The
sharing.
Memorial front. We should also talk about Nicky Cat a little bit. This is his final role with Soderbergh, and also his I think his final film role. He did some TV after this,
yeah, I think that's right. Yep.
Who died last year, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
2025.
Super, super funny in Full Frontal. Just runs away with the movie Full Frontal as an actor playing Hitler in a tiny LA stage performance.
Also, he's in The Limey. Wonderful.
The Limey,
we talked about.
He's quite scary.
I was so mad seeing this film because to me, this was a case of this person seems so talented to me. Even his lines in this movie, I was texting with Jake and I said, the reality that his character carries this movie is almost like a disservice to other people in this movie, the sort of higher, campier people, because it's it's such a different end of the register. He's just very funny. He has the line where Scott is explaining that Liberace was going to adopt him, and he says, "You can adopt people you're fucking. That's a great law."
That is the most Boogie Nights scene in the movie too. It's they're just but it's this. Meanwhile, in LA, this is what things are like.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
You got to get back to Vegas, where at least I don't know. It's a great scene. Yeah.
Yeah. So what a underutilized actor. I'm just sorry that's how his career went. But
terrific. He's in a bunch of stuff. He's in Dazed and Confused, famously. He's in
Boiler Room, I think, has a famous role. Yeah,
he's in a bunch of Robert Rodriguez stuff and Joel Schumacher stuff, and Insomnia, the movie where Soderbergh put Nolan up for that film. Soderbergh cursed us with Christopher Nolan. So, rest in peace to Nicky Cat. It was always nice to see. Do we have any sort of final thoughts on the film, on Liberace, on Palimony?
I think it's the best TV movie ever made.
I mean, it's
arguably
it was the highest or the most watched TV movie since 2004 when it came out.
What had it come out in 2004? Just out of curiosity, do you know? I
don't remember. Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't look that up.
But
it
on
must
premium
have been
cable too, the most expensive thing to watch it. Pre-Max, pre-streaming.
I think it's consistent with Soderbergh's. He's often at the forefront of like distribution and the next like step in the industry going to HBO, whether it was intentional or not. And even he uses the 80s HBO logo the way he uses the 70s Warner Brothers logo. He's bringing his shtick. Yeah. But like, this is an early volley in the kind of real movies, real kind of adult dramas are like going to TV now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And with the movie stars in tow.
Exactly.
Because everything else this is the year after the Avengers, right? So this is sort of the Scott Thorson of the MCU is coming in, and Billy Leatherwood of Behind the Candelabra is going out.
Right.
Yeah, I'm working on one that I'll plug in a minute. But
yeah,
a movie star show. Yeah.
And's related to Steven Soderbergh and one of our friends.
Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Actually, first of all, one final connection to stuff we've talked about before. The piano double in the film, Philip Fortenberry.
Yes. Yeah.
Another British ass, another hunting painting ass name.
From the Liberace Museum.
Yeah, he was the in-house entertainer at the Liberace Museum, and he fit into the same costumes as Michael Douglas. So they had him.
Did you see anybody? I was trying to guess. Were people performing at the Liberace Museum? Yeah, do you remember? Was there?
No, it was just like the weekday. We just walked around. There was like a weird Italian restaurant attached to it that I'm so mad I didn't go in and eat at.
I sort of remember it being, because I was 14 when I was in Vegas for a couple of summers, and I was basically always at the Guitar Center, just like looking at stuff I couldn't have. And I remember the Liberace Museum being in the, like, sharing the parking lot, but I looked this up and I couldn't verify it, but I must have been on the way or something.
Yeah, it was in a weird, it was way off strip.
It's like a strip mall.
Yeah, it's in a strip mall. In a kitty corner with Tivoli Gardens, I think was the name of the restaurant.
Liberace's restaurant. Yeah. Liberace owned that restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah. And there was I remember definitely across from the Guitar Center was a place where you could get a concealed carry license. And I know that because that's where I learned what concealed carry was.
Okay.
You can
asking.
Still buy a few items from the now long closed, like a gift shop at the Liberace Museum. But you have to buy them and directly from Jonathan Warren, who mails them to you from his address, and it comes.
You have to give him your address. Yeah.
You do. No, you do.
Opening a PO box so that I could get Liberace's hat or whatever. They also apparently. So Philip Fortenberry played. He put on the costume, and then he would play it, and they would digitally put Michael Douglas's head on his body, which is pretty seamless. You can't really tell.
Too. Yep.
And but he said that. Apparently all of the jewelry was maybe his fingers were too skinny or something. They had to glue the rings to his fingers because they kept flopping over and hitting the keys.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But the connection is that Fortenberry was associate conductor of the production of Jersey Boys in Las Vegas.
Whoa.
Which of course
Clint
made a movie of.
Yeah, that's true.
Interesting.
Yeah, I have a final question before you. I want to get to the plug.
About the plug. Well, you have a final question.
I do. I want to ask. I mean, even just first of all, did you spend much time in Vegas because your parents were performing there before you were an adult and an enthusiast for this type of weirdness?
Not like a little bit. Yeah, we would periodically go to to Vegas, and it was in the 90s when they were really selling Vegas as like a kids destination. Yeah. So I did some of that stuff. I did like the Wizard of Oz experience. But
the pirate show, whatever. Yeah.
Did you ever go to the arcade at the Luxor? They had a really good arcade at the Luxor.
I think I did. Yeah. and all the various last time I was in town with my brother, he went and checked out the moving statues at Caesar's Palace, that show.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
But then one of the most interesting things we did was we went to the Desert Inn, which was one of the oldest casinos. It was like a Rat Pack casino right before it closed.
Original Ocean's 11 stuff. Yeah.
Or you have to wear a suit and cocktail outfit on the floor if you were going to gamble. Cool. You had to look cool. And we saw Mel Torme and Mel Carter perform there, and then the place closed right after that. So that was very interesting. I was 13 years old.
Wow.
We were sitting back to back with Sharon Stone, who was filming Casino at the time.
Oh man,
it was crazy. So that was like an old Vegas thing. I did just the show that I just worked on. We shot for a week in Vegas, and so since then, what we end up shooting is Weird Vegas, which is downtown. We stayed off the strip, and we shot. There's a place called the Double Down, which is the only punk club in Vegas, and I really suggest if you're going to Vegas, you must go to the Double Down. It's an amazing dive bar. You drink a drink called ass juice out of a little toilet. It's their signature drink.
Sold. Leaving now.
Yeah.
It's covered in like every surface is covered in bumper stickers, like on the walls, and there's like
that's fun.
It's so good. It's so cool. It's legitimately the coolest place. And there's like some cool tiki bars. You just have to get off the strip.
Yeah, off strip Vegas is. I mean, it's like it
really
reminds me of
interesting.
the Valley.
Totally.
It's the same sort of like below the line people who are doing their weird stuff in the suburbs, basically. We filmed at the Plaza, which has this incredible. It's like at the end of Fremont Street, but it's what they modeled Biff's Casino in Back to the Future 2 after.
Whoa, okay.
And it has like this steakhouse that was owned by the mayor of Las Vegas. It's like a bubble that's like space age.
Was it Oscar something?
Oscars, yeah.
Yeah,
Oscars, and there's a statue of him in it. But the way, like on the website, they're like Kevin Spacey appeared in this steakhouse in the film Pay It Forward. Like they haven't changed that.
Oh hell yeah, yes, dude.
Oscars is awesome.
Oscar Goldwyn or something like that.
I think so.
When I was in Vegas, they tried to have their own Coachella. It was called Vegoose. I don't know if they still have it. But it was free. At least the first year it was free. Ooh. And so I went with my dad, and the headliner was Weezer, and I was 14, and I was a big Weezer guy. So, right. But the couple opening acts play, and then a helicopter lands behind the stage. And Mayor Oscar gets out of the helicopter and goes on stage to like welcome everybody and then introduce Weezer.
Whoa,
it's really
weird.
Bizarre.
Once a month, you can pay for like a couple $100 to have like a 3-course steak dinner at Oscars, and Oscar will give a speech like during the dinner about being a mob lawyer, like like defending the mob. Like so that was yeah.
Hey, they deserve.
Everybody deserves John Adams style.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, this is my final question. Do you think Liberace, like in this ostentation, this like self-flattery? I mean, this is a perfect example of this. I looked at Oscar Goodman, I think is this guy's name. Looks Goodman. Like. Did he create this? Was he just building on something that existed? This sort of like reverence for your own idea. Where did this come from? Did this already exist in Vegas? What do you think this is? I mean,
I think it was him and Elvis kind of all rising at the same time. I feel like that was the first kind of, because Vegas, was like mob owned. But all these performers, had these long residencies there kind of around the same time, I believe. And they all kind of were able to create like this identity.
Yeah, like selling their own legacy kind of, right?
Yeah. I mean, and you never have to leave, and you get to have the craziest house, like magicians like Penn and Teller, like, and Triss Angel wouldn't live in like a mansion they completely envisioned for themselves from their own brains in LA. You can live there in Vegas. Yeah.
It's like socially acceptable thing to do somehow.
And Liberace talks about one of the houses that he lived in, he bought because it was 6 minutes from work, as he put it. Like he could get door to door from his mansion to whichever casino he was at, and that's, you can't do that in LA.
The Vegas mansion is weirdly very off strip. It's actually very close to the airport, and it's at the end of a very normal street, which I think was part of why he liked it, because all the houses around him were just middle class houses. There's a McDonald's at the end of the street, and then in the middle of us, it's just the only reason that house has a second story is because he purchased a staircase from like some like cabaret in France, and it got it shipped out, and then he had to add a second story, which is the sunroom.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it was a one-story house at first.
What a freak. And then, of course, what's his name? Willie Bank, Al Pacino's character, Willie Bank from Ocean's 13 came in and he ruined all of it. Used to be a club of guys who had shook Sinatra's hand, and he blew it all up. It's tragic, but also I think Liberace needed to be stopped. So
But I mean, look, is this? I don't mean to be too corny, but is this just like, has this been so normalized now? Is this, we're all celebrating our own personhood all the time? Right, and whether sometimes disguised as kind of like liberation, right, or like self-love in a positive way, but now we're all doing Liberace stuff.
Vanity.
I mean, liberation. That's what they call it down there. Yeah, should I bring an oil painting of my own face to my plastic surgeon to make me look more like the painting?
I did just listen to the autofocus episode, and you guys said the same thing about autofocus. So I feel like, is this how you end every episode, being like,
wait, what did we say about autofocus?
That we're all just watching ourselves jack off on camera.
Wow. Insane.
Damn.
Very embarrassing. First of all, that you even heard another episode of this podcast, let alone that we said the same thing on that episode.
We need to get the Men in Black mind eraser.
Aren't we all just being Men in Black these days?
We might have already done that. Yeah, that's a problem.
God damn it.
I really like that episode, so I was like, similar.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's what we're getting from all this stuff.
I love it.
This movie could have used a little Much mast scene, in my opinion, but we can just assume it was there. But Eva, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh yeah,
it's been a delight.
A fantastic conversation about a great piece of art.
I do want to ask you about this show that you're working on. So what is this? You've got something exciting coming out.
Yeah, I've been working on it for the last 2 years. It's coming out in April, called Margot's Got Money Troubles. It's a David E. Kelly show for Apple, starring Elle Fanning as like a single mom who has to do OnlyFans. It's based on a book that came out last year. It's a very popular book, comic novel. Her dad is Nick Offerman, who's like a former professional wrestler, and her mom is Michelle Pfeiffer. Who works at Bloomingdale's.
Yeah, she knows Michael Douglas also. They're Ant-Man's parents or whatever.
That's
Ant-Man's parents. Mm-hmm. But she's married to, or is dating, Greg Kinnear, who on set, I did wait for like the second block, but then I was like, may I ask you about autofocus? And he told me all about shooting it. He was really excited that he's like, no one ever asked me about autofocus.
That's cool.
It was great.
Any insight that you're allowed to, you don't have to violate any sanctity for yourself, but
he referred to Schrader as like almost childlike and sweet.
Interesting.
Which is not what you expect from him.
I
think some people have that experience of him. I suspect most of them are men, but I think he contains multitudes. Yeah. We did notice another member of the cast, the announced cast,
Nicole Kidman.
Of course, sure, but we were thinking of Laura San Giacomo.
Who's
a Soderbergh head,
sex license videotape.
She is
re-recording
so cool.
Haywire. Yes,
she's cool. Yeah,
believe that.
Is she cool enough, do you think, to re-record everything Ian's ever said on the show, Haywire style? Would she go back and ADR the whole podcast?
I don't know.
Price is no object.
It's just like her voice is like unchanged and so husky. She plays like Elle's boss at this restaurant.
Okay,
and and just like it's.
She seems.
It's because also like Michelle Pfeiffer also has a voice that once you hear it, you're like, I can't unhear. I know this voice from my dreams. But Laura San Giacomo also has that kind of voice, and Marcia Gay Harden is also on the show, and she also has a
from Mystic River.
Yeah,
it's true.
These are all cast members from your extended universe.
From our dreams. When is this coming out?
April 15th on Apple.
Okay.
Great. Okay, great.
Check it out. I'm quite proud of it. It's a cool show.
File your taxes and watch Margot's Got Money Troubles.
I don't know if the tax day thing is on purpose, but it's very funny.
It works.
I mean, speaking of people not having more than $499,000, this is the question, right? Yeah.
There you go. Well, we close out the show with a final segment, which is called Popcornopolis. Kimmy, will you tell us what this is?
This is Popcornopolis, the segment where we ask our guest, do you like popcorn?
Eva, do you like popcorn?
Sometimes.
Ooh, okay. Conditional, situational.
I like to get a nice dinner before the movie.
Okay.
What kind of dinner are we talking about?
Well, I live on the west side, and my husband and I, what we really like to do is go to this restaurant called Michael's, which looks like it's like a crazy 70s restaurant. It looks like you're in the movie Body Heat. It's got like a crazy atrium, and you get happy hour there, and there's like weird erotic art on the walls. Like it's an insane Brian De Palma coded restaurant. Yeah, and then you're 2 blocks away from the movie theater.
Wow. Where is Michael's?
We went to UCLA. We don't know anything about this. I've never heard of Michael's.
You should Google it. It's Michael's.
Okay.
Michael's. It's like the end of the Santa Monica Promenade, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's called Michael's Restaurant.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's awesome.
So can you get like lobster thermidor and stuff?
No, it's not like, it's like actually because of when it opened, you get like butternut squash ravioli.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, you get
California
pasta primavera and stuff. Yeah. California cuisine. There you go.
But you can also just get a really good martini and like a shrimp cocktail.
But that beats popcorn for you.
Yeah. If I'm going to a matinee, then I'll get a little popcorn. If I'm like by myself.
Ian, do you have any popcorn updates? Are you going home with tea and popcorn?
I don't think so. I just made a bunch, and I just reflected on the beauty of shaving butter into your own popcorn. Very nice.
That sounds
shaving,
good.
but like with a
What's your technique? Do you do it like in a Dutch oven, or do you do it like?
No, I did it on the stovetop, boy, old school, and then I just used a little like this. Are you familiar with this little tool? It's kind of like a cheese grater, very small.
Is it for but you do it like with like citrus? Is it like
it's called a microplane. It's like
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But you use that on butter. You butter.
Oh yeah.
So now I'm gonna make some fucking popcorn because you said that. I hate this.
See, that sounds good. I've been back on the Trader Joe's herb and spice one or whatever. I've been going. I bounce back and forth between kettle corn and the herb and spice.
Okay,
but I don't like it in the movie context. I eat it at other times.
You're both wrong, but I love and respect you both
for
as well.
Saying that. I appreciate that. Well, thank you again, Eva. This was
thank you so much.
Really fun.
Oh yeah, this was such a pleasure, guys. Thanks so much for having me. I really enjoyed myself.
Pleasure is all ours, and I've saved this for the end of the episode. But I did just want to say that my behind could handle bra. I got a droopy ass. I want to share that with the listener. Anyway, thank you. Oh my God, you're so nice. Remember to subscribe, rate us, write a review. It helps us on the algorithm. If you like the show, tell a friend, tell your dad, email the Liberace Museum guy. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Podcasty for Me. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, or you're interested in co-hosting a 2-person Steven Soderbergh podcast, you can email us at podcastyforme@gmail.com. All of this is at podcastyforme.com and at shootingyourselfinthehead.com. Just a reminder to myself, I do need to renew shootingyourselfinthehead.com. And thank you to Jeremy Allison for our artwork. We'll be back next week with a Patreon episode, in 2 weeks with The Nick Season 1.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's so good.
Get slicing. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.